Okay. Recording in progress. Well, hi, everybody. We are going to create a poetry oasis at the Club Tropical today. And I think we'll do a little centering moment in a minute here, but we are going to have, I want to introduce you to our first presenter. Why don't you introduce yourself to us and read us your poem?
Okay. Thank you. Poetry is a big part of me, and this last poem resonated with me because I have a funeral I have to get ready for. I'm actually sitting in the bathtub right now and getting ready to wash my hair. So this is in praise of long life, and so that we don't forget how important poems are in our life and how important the life of Terry Patton was as an inspiration. And we keep on doing as Siegfried does and keeping the fires burning. So thank you, John, for organizing this and for letting me squeeze in the last poem by Emily Berry. And this was inspired by Paula Ness and Sylvia Plath. And if you don't know those authors, you have homework. We don't forget. We don't forget. All night your stars blaze on the hill, which is to say all our lives. Childhood shut fast behind a door. My mother, too, built a room that she would later die in. She dug her own grave in the air, and in the small backyard there was a stone lion, a thicket of ivy, and in the house there were books. But the words that were there were not omens of death. They are alive, and everything you wrote is alive. So tip the milk back into the jug, take the blanket from the crack under the door. Come back from the beyond, where the moon stays sad all night, but doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt when the clock runs backwards, and survivor, you are older than you could ever have imagined. And there's still time for you to write your last poem in praise of long life. And I offer praise to all of your lives who are going to be sharing, and for all the caring that we do in our community. So blessings and peace, and thank you.
Thank you, Anna. I'm very glad you were able to get
Beautiful,
here.
Anna.
Thank you for the poem.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, everybody, I think that was about as nice a start as we could have possibly gotten off to. What I'd like to do now, why don't we go around, everybody have a chance to say hi. And then I'm sure I can just feel that we've got a lot of wonderful poems in store for today that'll add light and love and lightness to all of our lives. So why don't we start out, I can say, I'm John Brody. I'm here at the my favorite spot in the world, Club Tropical, where I hang out at regularly. Of course, I initially discovered this on a shamanic journey, which sounds very eerie and weird. But nonetheless, it's exciting, and it's one of those places where you can just always go and kind of recharge your batteries and rest and relax. And so it's a perfect place, obviously, for a poetry. That's spelled wrong, isn't it? Postry. I don't know what postry is.
Postry.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that is. I think it was correct on the other thing. I'm going to have to change that graphic now. But anyway, we all know what the idea is. And it will be an oasis, I think, for all of our spirits and so forth. That's the intention. So, Siegfried, why don't you say hi to everybody now that you got a mouthful of food?
I'm Siegfried, and it's really not a mouth full of food. It's just a sweet. It's the dessert. So anyway, so I'm Siegfried, and it's so good to be in. Sorry to be a little bit too late. Coming from the forest and collected mushrooms And it was such a joy to realize the abundance of nature, offering and inviting, and still you have to be a little bit skilled to identify the spots and where the places are where the mushrooms are really growing. And my eyes started to adjust to the perspective of, if there is a brown cap of something which is unusual among the grass or in the earth. So I like so adjusting my eyes to see where the mushrooms are. So, and it helped me for me, it was an exercise to focus. And there can be various foci. But anyway, in this specific way, it was just the focus on mushrooms. And it helped me to realize that I'm able to focus. And it's my choice to focus on. And it's not random. It's me who is making the choice where to focus on. And leave alone the part of whether the glass is half full or half empty, or so forget about. For me, the essential realization is, if I want to get access to the abundance of life, it's helpful when I decide to focus. And focusing means also to focus on the whole. That's included. And be specific and very mushroom-like, and expanding to the unlimited focus of life. And it was such a gift. It was such a gift to realize it's my capability to focus on the gritty, nitty, pitty, and so into the whole and back. And every state I'm able to access. And this is my celebration of today. These are my words I've spoken.
Wow, that's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, can you say hi to everybody? I know you have to leave, I think, a little early, so.
Thank you. I mean, I don't mean to go in front of anybody, but I just really wanted to come.
Yes.
And I already have something at 1:30, but I just really wanted to come. Okay, so thank you. Gee, I don't know which to share. I'll just quickly say I was just at the National Arts Club, which is a half mile from my house. It's been around for over 100 years, and people were just sharing. This woman was presenting, at how swimming in water every day, in the ocean every day, has been her ritual for discovering her soul. Just say it like that. So her invitation was to find your water, right? I mean, right, find your water. So she asked a few questions. Oh, let me get my glasses. I'm sorry. And I'll just ask some questions. So that it's not a poem, but it's, okay. Can I ask some questions? Okay, thank you. So here are some questions and then a quote from Georgia O'Keeffe. Are you listening for what calls whispers? How do you create spaciousness for what wants to emerge? Where can you add ritual? When do you find yourself unflinchingly present? What gets you into sensation out of mental mind? What can you commit to 1 year, every day? Can you name your fear? Are you ready to meet new versions of yourself? Find your water. is her suggestion. And the quote from Georgia O'Keeffe, quote, "All the frivolities of summer are a lie. Winter is the truth."
That's beautiful. Very nice. Thank you, Michelle.
Inspired.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me share, John.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Is there a way to share that list somehow as the minutes or pass it to John?
Actually, if, just to start off, if everybody wants to share any of these things with me, you can just send to my email, John J. Brody at positivevibes.net, and I will post them. I'll post all of them I get on the Mighty Networks so that, everybody can have access to them.
If you go on my networks, but yeah.
Well, this will encourage everybody to go.
I'm all for that.
Start participating.
J Brody at, just give me the after the at.
JBRODIE at
Yes.
POSITIVIBES.net.
Positivevibes.net.
Yes, but not a full positive.
Oh, okay. No, don't.
Positive vibes. It's here. I'll give it to you exactly again. Here. It's POSIT.
Offer it in the chat, please. It's easy.
Yeah, I'll put
in
it.
the
Yeah,
chat.
it makes it a lot easier. You got it.
Thank
All
you.
right, Alan. Why don't we switch over to you, Alan? Because I knew you had something you wanted to read.
Actually, I am in the selection process of it. So let's go next.
Okay. Well, I would love to hear from Annika.
Thank you, John. Am I checking in or am I doing my share or
no,
both?
I think you can definitely check in. And if it leads into something nice, I think you should just go for it. We'll make sure we go around the circle once at least first before we get
Okay. Well, for my check-in, I'm doing okay. I love the smile, Sam. Thank you. I'm doing okay. I'm having some bumpy times with work, but it's okay. I'm learning to just really appreciate every moment. I loved what you read, Michelle. Find something you can commit to for a year, one day at a time. Wow. And I loved what everybody's saying. I have a poem to read, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, you can save it if you want.
Yeah. I wrote it, so I'm not really feeling like I need to read it if that's not the way things are going. So,
Oh, I think that'd
but
be
it's
great.
beautiful.
I think it'd be even better since you wrote it.
Well, okay. I wrote this.
Annika, does that mean that it is an origin of yourself?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
it's just for me, an origin needs to have a place and a space and a time, and it's just a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, John, for preparing it. And if it is now the time, it's fine. So take it, please.
Okay. Yeah. No, this means a lot to me. I wrote this for one of my best friends on the planet, who is no longer on the planet. But I love her still. And it's called Dixie. That's who she was that time around. She was Dixie. We are friends, and that is good. We can talk about not so much like how your hair looks short or the colors in my shirt. We can talk about everything, like all the atrocities in the world, or how to feed and clothe our children. Mine, a tender ear when your frustrations needed venting. Yours, a comforting shoulder when my sorrow spilled over. We are friends, and that is very, very good.
Very
I
good.
love to have a chance to read that, because that's for you, dear one.
And a gift for us.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Just take a second after that. That was really nice. All right. Linda.
Okay, this is one I wrote about 40 years ago, in a hard place. And it's from my book, actually, well, on the first chapter, but it's called The Tree. And this was a time when I really felt God didn't love me, you know, really felt desolate. And this poem came out, and it was called The Tree. God created me so perfectly. God fashioned me just so, a grand, majestic living tree to grace the earth below. God created me so perfectly, and yet with one accord, man cut me down and made a cross to hold my dying Lord. I held him there. I felt his pain. I was his destiny. And when they drove the nails in him, they drove them too in me. I was the one he prayed to miss, the one he had to face. And man had shaped me to this cross in deep disgrace. I didn't want him hanging there. I wanted him to live. But me, an instrument of death, was all I was to give. And yet I know, and know I should, your love was holding him. I know that through my shameful wood, he took away all sin. Why me? Why me, I'm bound to cry. Forever I will wish to know, because I wonder why you fashioned me for this. Then, through your son's forgiving word, great understanding bled. A still, small voice within me heard, and this is what you said. I created you so perfectly. I fashioned you just so, a grand, majestic, living tree to grace my earth below.
Wow.
Oh. Oh.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Very beautiful. Mr. Sam, I see you there.
Oh, wow. This does my heart a lot of good to just sit today and just hear these poems.
It's
You know,
wonderful
I
to
love
have
it.
you.
Yeah, I don't ever like consider myself, I don't know. I'm getting out of the I don't consider myself a ... but a poetry person, you know. But it's really lovely just to sit here with you guys and listen. You know, and I don't have a lot of words. Maybe I can offer the Zen koan that I heard the other day. I think is an interesting one. When the Zen monk came to the master and says, "I haven't yet attained enlightenment. Please, can you tell me what it is?" And the Zen master said, "Enlightenment is like a donkey looking down into a well." And then for a moment, the monk stood there, and then he said, "I don't understand." And the master said, "The well sees the donkey too." And I have no idea what that means, but you're probably in about the same place I am with that.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. And we're very glad to have you here for sure.
Thank you.
Your energy is always a positive part of the group. And Alan, now it's your turn.
All right. One thing I notice is I like to like hear them and read them at the same time. So I'm going to share my screen just so you can, if you like to read them while you hear it. But just to, I would agree with you, Sam. I wouldn't classify myself as a poetry guy or something, but at points in my life or at moments, they enter in, and so this is one that entered in. That are very important. It was one of those, the first day of the rest of your life moments. And I won't go into details, but it was about in 2008. And a friend of mine read this and he said it was totally my situation. So it's, let me share my screen here. Where is it? There we go. So it's Mary Oliver, The Journey. So one day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice. Though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations. Though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night in the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voice behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own. That kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. This is Mary Oliver, The Journey.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to read one now. In fact, I have two poems. This is one that really I have to give New Republic of the Heart credit for, because this book, oh, that holds, I don't know how I can get it to see it. You can't see it. Oh, can you see the book? No, not going to be able to see it. Anyway, it's Alfred Lamont. One of Terry's podcasts was with Alfred Lamont, who is an extraordinarily wonderful poet. And also very, very, very wise guy. And I picked up his book, which is Savor Eternity, One Moment at a Time, which if you like poetry, I'd recommend it. It's got so many beautiful ones in it, but I picked two. I could have picked a dozen, but I picked two out of here just so that I'm not reading poems all day. But the one I'm going to start with is called One Who Loved You. The one who loved you madly into being has become your breath. If you empty your chest, she fills your darkness with moonlight. Your first duty is inhalation. Your last is merely to breathe out. This is how you polish the earth like a sparkling emerald. What you do between birth and death is not so important. Just hug the whole entanglement without untying any knots. Through your magisterial refusal, a laughing hell-born teared with dewdrops, answers every question. A dandelion embodies the maker of all things. Self-awareness is the pulse of a twin-chambered heart. The one who sees is the one who is seen, yet between them is is distance so vast. It contains the night, and so alive it churns out stars. Matter is a mist in your eye, but the soul is solid as a diamond. Already, you are the boundless space into whom you ever expand. This is the paradox deep in the green of your iris, defining Ananda, the bliss of bewilderment. All you need is the hunger of silence to understand that the cry of an owl at midnight is sacred and means precisely nothing. Yet, in this nothing, your ancestors gather, singing your name by the glow of a golden fire that was never lit. At dawn, you'll see the truth. All through the darkest hours, some wordless, mothering secret force was weaving galaxies into the shape of a nest. She is the one who sings the whole sky in a robin's egg. Alfred Lamont.
Alfred Lamont, okay.
Yes, Alfred Lamont. And I will post all these so that everybody can enjoy them, because they're worthy of reading and hearing many times, I think. Let's see, who would like to, well, let's see. Why don't we go around and see if anybody has any particular comments or ideas or thoughts, or share another poem. So we'll just kind of go around. We can kind of go around the same order that we were. I start with Annika.
Oh, I just think that this is all gorgeous. I'm loving every minute of it. Wow. I don't have another poem to share right this minute. I have a few, but in mind. Geez, it's just some of these ideas are just flooding. It's almost it's almost like being in the ocean when the waves are starting to lap up against your feet and you walk in a little bit more, and those swells kind of hit you more and more. It's just such really, really rich and beautiful. Thank you all.
I think that that's the wonderful thing about poetry to me, because even more than prose, it's just straight writing, is because it kind of has an alchemy that transfers thoughts into something much, much more so rich with feeling and colors and substance. And poems at their best I think are very magical. And and I think all the ones we've heard so far are magical kind of poems. And I think it's good for us, because I think that, like a lot of things, like they open us up to a new perspective, because in life it's very easy for us to get, there's so much going on all the time, and we have things that have to get done, and our routines and so forth. And I think it's very useful, almost like an inoculation, to get some ideas, a different perspective kind of implanted in our biocomputers up here, to kind of allow us to maybe look at things from a different way, and to realize that just how much depth and wonder and beauty there is in everything. And it's really just a matter of how you choose to look at it. And I think that's a great thing about poetry. It helps open you up to different ways of looking at things, and plant seeds of new ideas and a new added richness for life. I have there's a little one. This is, I don't know, I guess Rumi's stuff is kind of poems, but this is another one that I feel very lucky, actually, because and I'll share a little of this. Bob Roth is the CEO of the Transcendental Meditation Organization, and for about during the COVID period, I mean, I've been a meditator for 40 or something years, having started in college, and Bob started 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, because of COVID and everything, doing an online group meditation twice a day. And every session, he opens it up with what could be called a Dharma talk, but he calls it like the Genius Lounge. Things about the human body, things about nature, science, and often poems. And he's read so many nice ones. And so it's been a wonder for me because, here, not only besides the fact that there is something powerful about meditating, even though they're all over the world, meditating with 1,800 or 2,000 people at the same time, there's something magical about that. And I have kind of noticed my meditations seem somehow more dynamic. But anyway, this is one that he read the other day. It's by Rumi, and it's just a short one, but I liked it a lot. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. Because for those who love with heart and soul, there's no such thing as separation. So I like it. Now, it's in so few words to say so much is wonderful. And, of course, I got some long poems here too, but Siegfried, do you have anything else you'd like to offer?
Yeah, I'm Siegfried, and well, it's a sharing of my discoveries in the last 2 years, when I got access to my own ability to draw pictures by words. And this is a part of poetry. And for me, it was and is still very helpful to listen to David White in his book of Consolation. That was the door opener for me. And what I realized, that what you just described, John, and referred to, that there is no separation. And David White is able to, in his poems and in his expressing of awareness, he is able to start from the past, come to the present, and connecting it with the future. And while I'm listening, I don't know where he really is. I listened to several webinars of him, and I like the style. He is re-quoting phrases or parts of his poems several times. First, to listen to. Secondly, to the same paragraph, and really the same, emphasizing a little bit different, and all of a sudden you are realizing how there is the connection between the past, the now, and the future. There is no separation. And this is an experience of wholeness I, in particular, experience when I'm listening to the quotations of David White. And he was also a poet on the healing summit of Thomas Hübel in the last 10 days. And at the final, the completion ceremony with Thomas and two women and another guy, they referred and quoted to David White because he was on the 8th day the poet. And out of that, what I capture is a streaming, well, the whole movement of healing trauma movement, in a way Thomas initiated. They have been 3 elements which feels very substantial. It's the awe. We are all accessing, and we can all lean into, and we can immediately realize, oh, this is my awe. Secondly, there is the connection to my compassion. It's me who can relate and express compassion, which is at home in myself. So it's awe, it's passion, and there is the ceremony, the container, in a way, whichever, but it needs to be contained. And most of them, they referred in the completion ceremony with Thomas to the quote of David White, when they expressed the architecture and the composition of awe, compassion, and in a way containing. Containing is now my word, because they described it a little bit different. But this is what I gathered and what I'm holding. And since I have the trilogy of containing, awe, compassion, I know there is no separation, and I can experience it in that poetic approach when I'm leaning in. And this is a manifestation of integral understanding being very easily experienced and felt into. It's not an intellectual concept. It's really an experience of, yeah, it's that way of containing, of awe and compassion. And it's not only me, it's whoever people are together and they decide to lean into their own awe, their own compassion, and holding it together. This is a possibility of realizing and experiencing collective wisdom. These are my words I've spoken now.
Thank you, Siegfried.
I'd like to follow up on that. I got the sense of the non-conceptual aspect of, as if in the containing, it's like it's located. The nexus is located somewhere, and it can only be located in a place if it's contained. And that's the container that I hear you speaking to. And I would like to, if I had a favorite poem, it would be this called "The Winter of Listening" by David White. And I would like to read this, but I think it illustrates that same construction of a space in one's, psyche. So let me do that if that's okay. It's this. Oh, that's not it. Let me do that. All right.
You got to leave it on the screen this time too, Helen.
Yeah, let me get it. So let me make sure I can see it first.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. I'm just going to park it over on that monitor, and then we're just going to do it this way. Okay.
Moving monitors. And the hardware store in the background.
Sorry about the leather worker up there, but that's.
I thought that was the hardware store.
No. So, do you see that as full screen? What are you seeing now?
Yep, looks good.
No one would be me by the fire? That one?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So, David White, with The Winter of Listening. Why this is my favorite poem. It connects to my depressions. This poem is hope for anyone depressed. And so, no one but me by the fire, my hands burning red in the palms while the night wind carries everything away outside. All this petty worry while the great cloak of the sky grows dark and intense round every living thing. What is precious inside us does not care to be known by the mind in ways that diminish its presence. What we strive for in perfection is not what turns us into the lit angel we desire. What disturbs and then nourishes has everything we need. What we hate in ourselves is what we cannot know in ourselves, but what is true to the pattern does not need to be explained. Inside everyone is a great shout of joy waiting to be born. Even with summer so far off, I feel it grown in me now and ready to arrive in the world. All those years listening to those who had nothing to say. All those years forgetting how everything has its own voice to make itself heard. All those years forgetting how easily you can belong to everything simply by listening. And the slow difficulty of remembering how everything is born from an opposite and miraculous otherness. Silence and winter have led me to that otherness. So let this winter of listening be enough for the new life I must call my own. Every sound has a home from which it has come to us, and a door through which it is going again, out into the world to make another home. We speak only with the voices of those we can hear ourselves, and the body has a voice only for the portion of the body of the world it has learned to perceive. It becomes a world itself by listening hard for the way it belongs. There it can learn how it must be and what it must do. In the tumult, and here, in the tumult of the night, I hear the walnut above the child swaying its dark limbs. In the wind and the rain now coming to beat against my window, and somewhere in this cold night of wind and stars, the first whispered opening of those hidden and invisible springs that uncoil in the still summer air, each yet to be imagined rose. Huh. Woo!
Ooh.
I have to share my experience of in the waves, like you said. And then it's like, and then a whole nother poem. Oh, it's another kind of, and it's almost jarring. It's jarring.
Linda, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just saying, Alan, that was beautiful. Sort of was
I love that poem.
here. Yeah.
I'll read one. I'll read one now that I think is a kind of a good follow-up for Alan's. It's called Mindful by Mary Oliver. I don't know if any of you know this. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in a haystack of light. It is what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass.
Oh,
It is magical. I think poems are magical.
So I'm having the experience of, what? Am I muted?
No, Annika?
Linda was trying to say something, but she was muted.
I was just saying Leah is just arrived. She might have something to say.
Yes, I saw Leah come in, and I think it's a perfect time right now. Leah, why don't you say hi? I know you've missed some of the poems, but we are recording this session, so everybody get to listen to them again, because I think a lot of them are definitely worth hearing again. So, but anyway, welcome, Leah.
Thank you. I just love the last two poems. I've been sort of searching for my book poem, my favorite book, the Radiant Sutras, and of like ancient tantric poetry, and I can't find it. So I'm still sort of, stumbling around in my apartment trying to figure out where that book went. But I have some other books that I can find, and I also have I have excerpts from my play, which is a sort of
That would be
radical,
great. I think that would be
radical
wonderful.
play. As well as Annika wanted to say something, I think, first.
No, I didn't, Leah. You can check in. I'm just trying to tell people when they're muted.
So you are muted, Lee.
I'm still sort of trying to figure out where are all my poetry books. I don't know, because I live in two places now and everything is up in the air. But is anybody up next to read?
Well, I think, let's see.
I can say something if you like.
All right, Linda, that'd
I
be
have a
great.
comment, very short comment, is I have this intuition of a need for ceremony in some way, in letting a poem land enough, and then like a sun nodding or something to like, oh yes, it's now it's time to move. So I don't know how to do it other than look at each other.
Because you did kind of step on the end of your poem, Alan. I will say.
Yeah, I probably did. Yeah. So
Yes, okay.
So I don't know how to do it, but I feel the need.
Yeah, I think we've mostly been doing that for the most
Yes.
part. I really feel we've been good.
It must be a projection.
Linda.
Yes,
Yeah,
Linda.
this is a poem I wrote when I was 14 years old, and I only found it the other day, and I thought, gosh, that reminds me where my life's led me to. Yeah, it's quite strange. I was 14 years old when I wrote this, and it's called Us. People fat and people thin, people young and people old, people black, yellow, white of skin, people shy and people bold, people rich or people poor, people beautiful or plain, people dubious or sure, people mad or people sane, people short or people tall, people with religious mind, people with no faith at all, people cruel, people kind, people slow or people quick, people happy, people sad, people healthy, people sick, people good or people bad. Are we unique because we think our qualities are rare? But people is a common link that all of us must share.
Oh, that is so you. It is so you. I
I
love it.
know. And can you believe she was only 14 when she wrote that? beautiful-
Amazing. Yeah. It's like your visionary self, Linda, coming, channeling through you as a 14-year-old. Oh, you're muted. Linda's muted.
Makes a change. No, but I saw it the other day and I thought, I haven't looked at it for years, and I thought, gosh, that's strange. How my life has evolved, how I really believe in that poem at 14, Yeah.
Thank you.
Really wonderful poem. Just like it's the non-dual awareness. I am all that. Every polarity you mentioned, I am all of those. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to read a poem now by Jennifer Wellwood. These all, it's quite amazing because these all kind of flow together very nicely, I think. And anyway, Jennifer Wellwood. I'm not sure what the title is, but willing to experience aloneness, I discover connection everywhere. Turning to face my fear, I meet the warrior who lives within. Opening to my loss, I gain the embrace of the universe. Surrendering into emptiness, I find fullness without end. Each condition I flee from pursues me. Each condition I welcome transforms me and becomes itself transformed into its radiant jewel-like essence. I bow to the one who has made it so, who has crafted this master game. To play, it is purest delight. To honor its form, true devotion. Jennifer Wellwood.
I love all that, embracing of what we resist and how transformational that really is.
I think as we're experiencing, I think poetry has a way of bringing things together and altering the recipes, the recipes of reality, changing the ingredients a little bit, fine tuning. And I guess I never realized how much, and actually until, I picked up the book by Fred Lamont after the listening to, by the way, you should, that podcast with Fred that Terry did. I'd highly recommend that to anybody that hasn't heard it. It's really delightful. It's a little different than a lot of Terry's other podcasts, and it's fascinating. Fred does read several of his poems himself there, and it's really, really nice. But as I was saying, I until recently, I'd never realized how important or how useful, powerful poetry could be. And I have another one. I've got plenty here, so but this is just a short one. It's kind of a blessing as well as a poem. And I'm not even sure who it's by. It doesn't have a name on it, but it's very nice. It kind of goes right in with all of our other things. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. Alan, would you like to say something?
Sure. Well, thank you for that poem, John. I'm just letting that land in me a little bit. I just trust that somehow or other I will be able to read all these somewhere eventually. So I'm trusting you, John, there. So because these are all like as if I'm meant to hear these particular ones.
Yes. Well, and also, I mean, that's why I felt it was so important to record this session today, because I think that this will be hopefully something that can add some benefit to anybody who gets a chance to watch it, and we'll get to rewatch it anytime we want. So that'll be great.
So I have a reading, and this has a story. I'm in my first breathwork session ever in 2005, and some woman I never met who looks over at me and she says, "Oh, there's Mr. Joy," and then she rips a page out of one of these journals that have alternating pages of readings and things, and she ripped this page that I'm going to show you a picture of, which I have forwarded to scores of people over the years. So, I love reading this one too. Okay. There we go. Hopefully, you're seeing this colored page.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Okay. To this, I will let Martha Graham reply. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. Whether you choose to take an art class, keep a journal, record your dreams, dance your story, or live each day from your own creative source, above all else, keep the channel open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I like the line, above all is keep the channel open. I like that. Yeah, keep the channel.
Does anyone else have another poem at the moment?
I can read some excerpts from my play that I wrote many years ago.
That would be great.
I think the first one is from the end. Maybe I should read the other ones. This was sort of an evolution. My first attempt at writing what I would call an evolutionary comedy. But I was in grad school then. It was actually like very, very intellectual at the same time. Where's that scene? I think I will read from earlier in the play, and then maybe later read from that. Okay, so this was a play about two women artists and their animus figures, their inner male figures, and their inner male figures commenting on them all the time. So one of them, and the women were artists and the guys were scientists, but one of them, the animus figures, one of them was like a very cautious conservative biologist who was quite repressed, and the other one is like a quantum physicist who is super daring and provocative. So the super daring one, the physicist, he says about one of the artists, he says, Ella needs someone who can handle dialectical progressions that dissolve old orders with evolutionary fervor, someone for whom unity and diversity is second nature. That's her art. Ella is no airhead, even if people like you think she is. Her intuition just operates beyond the linguistic. Her tongue tries to catch up, but discourse can be so stiff and pedantic that sometimes the only way a woman like her is able to express all that lies percolating in her depths is by taking that organ of articulation and thrusting it deep into another person's mouth. And then the other guy says, so the woman's tongue must become phallic. Male penetration must be imitated for such communication to have its effect. And the other one says, wrong, Roger. You have overlooked the hermaphroditic quality of the mouth. In the mouth, both sexes penetrate and are penetrated. In their true union, each partner forgets the sex of the other because there is no other. The combining of bodies, breath, fluid, and fragrance is so physical, it bursts nova-like into the spiritual. The densest bodies pulse with light. Ecstasy embraces paradox and defies gender. So you see, Roger, bring the body to Logos and all heaven breaks loose on earth.
Thank you.
Wow.
People are in two different.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Makes me want to know the whole play, the whole context.
I know.
In which that dialogue would be in the middle of. You know.
In the middle of. Well, they're always just debating how to create transformation within their female. You know, they're like the male parts of the female, so it's like, how can transformation happen? But the other one is sort of, how do we resist transformation because it's too scary? And how do we maintain what works instead? So that's sort of the whole play. But there's all these archetypes. It was like a massive thing. There was all these different characters who represented male and female and historical archetypes. And it was supposed to be kind of a tantric comedy.
Sure, it certainly sounds very, very interesting.
I have,
Oh,
go on.
do you have one? Go ahead, Linda.
No. Okay.
It's your turn.
I don't know if it is or not. This is a poem I wrote when I was traveling around Australia years ago on my own. And I ended up on a fishing boat in the Gulf of Carpentaria because I wanted to get to the most northerly point of Australia, because I went all around Australia through the centre of Australia and I wanted to get to the northerly point. But I could only go by fishing boat because there was no roads. I mean, I was threatened with the shops because I couldn't cook. I volunteered to be a cook, and I couldn't even walk to the deck because I was seasick all of the time. Anyway, but this is the boat broke down. The echo system broke down. It was a prawning boat. And the echo system broke down. The radio system broke down, and we were just stuck. In the engine stopped, and there wasn't a loo on the boat. And so there was 3 men and me on the boat. So I had to go at midnight because I had to hang over the side. I had to hang over the side in shark-infested waters, at midnight while everybody else was asleep because I couldn't do it in the day, you see. So I went onto the deck, and it was the most profound experience. Well, one of the most I've ever experienced. And I've called from the Gulf of Carpentaria. You know where that is, between New Guinea and Australia. And everything was silent. The only sound, it was a little 36-foot wooden hull boat, and everything was silent. And the stars were out, but you couldn't see, and the sea was like a piece of glass. It was completely like a piece of glass. And the silence like shouted at me. And anyway, I wrote this poem, Gulf of Carpentaria. Dark, black, beautiful night, where the ocean dares to touch the mystic fantasy of stars. 2 elements of beauty that both have equal right to say, I'm insignificant. Warm, black, beautiful night. I see outstretched before me a deep eternity. This simple, precious moment may cares fade out of sight as you take away the world's reality. Soft, black, beautiful night, where the waves and gentle breezes bring a midnight symphony. I leave you with a sadness, for you'll fade with morning light. But thank you for the space and time, hid deep in memory.
That was wonderful. I was there.
There, yes. I was going to say that too. It put me right there. It's just wonderful, so evocative.
I want to go back.
So do I.
By the way, you're all going to want to read Linda's whole book when it's available, because it's beautiful prose throughout, and as well as heartwarming and insightful story throughout as well. So it's I think it's a very important book, actually. And I think it's going to have a life of its own. So we'll have more on that.
I just want to say, Linda, you so casually are given this context, and it's like, my God, all over Australia, it's like, wow, what a life he must have led. My goodness, compared to mine, unsheltered, So
I went on my own on the £10 emigration passage because I hadn't any money.
Too scary.
And then I came back 3 years later and went back again overland by myself, sleeping in a tent for all the way to Australia, but without a sleeping bag because I forgot it in England and I couldn't afford a new one.
Whoa! Yeah, wow, wow! What a courage you must have, for sure.
I'm Siegfried, and I'm really appreciating the invitation of you, Linda, to become a witness of a part of your journey. You are inviting us to witness very lively and very vital. And for me, this is an experience of how presencing of the past is affecting my presence now. And this is wonderful to realize, not only to be in the midst of, but to realize that's a possibility of experiencing the power of now, although the past has gone. And thank you for the invitation and bringing it so upfront that it is a contribution to realize myself in this moment that it is really true. These are my words. Thank you for that. I've spoken.
Thank you, Siegfried.
Hmm. So very short. That's another Rumi line, but it's I think somehow ties into all these other things, and us together here. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop.
Very nice.
I can feel myself on that deck of the boat with Linda almost. In that same drop of ocean.
I have something whenever we're ready.
Sure, Alan.
Okay, this is John O'Donohue, A Blessing for Beauty. And I will make it show on the screen. I think that's that. That should do it. You see that? A Blessing for Beauty?
Yes, it's rather small, but we can see it.
Kind of small, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's okay.
yeah, I can't. All right, well,
I have my glasses on.
all right, so here we go. May the beauty of your life become more visible to you, that you may glimpse your wild divinity. May the wonders of the earth call you forth from all your small secret prisons and set your feet free in the pastures of possibilities. May the light of dawn anoint your eyes that you may behold what a miracle a day is. May the liturgy of twilight shelter all your fears and darkness within the circle of ease. May the angel of memory surprise you in bleak times with new gifts from the harvest of your vanished days. May you allow no dark hand to quench the candle of hope in your heart. May you discover a new generosity toward yourself and encourage yourself to engage your life as a great adventure. May the outside voices of fear and despair find no echo in you. May you always trust the urgency and wisdom of your own spirit. May the shelter and nourishment of all the good you have done, the love you have shown, the suffering you have carried, awaken around you to bless your life 1,000 times. And when love finds the path to your door, may you open like the earth to the dawn and trust your every hidden color towards its nourishment of light. May you find enough stillness and silence to savor the kiss of God on your soul and delight in the eternity that shaped you, that holds you and calls you. And may you know that despite confusion, anxiety, and emptiness, your name is written in heaven. And may you come to see your life as a quiet sacrament of service, which awakens around you a rhythm where doubt gives way to the grace of wonder, where what is awkward and strained can find elegance, and where crippled hope can find wings, and torment enter at last unto the grace of serenity. May divine beauty bless you.
Stunning.
That was beautiful, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you. May it be so.
Yes, I think that one would be a beautiful affirmation to read every few days or every week.
And I've been sharing it every few days, every chance I get.
Well, you'll have to make sure I have the text so that I can post it, and I'll work on getting all these things up on my network so that everybody can have the benefit of getting a chance to read them and see them. And
It would be great.
Yeah, this is powerful. Doing it in a group, powerful.
I have one more. I probably have a couple, but this is by Howard Simon. And they all seem to kind of flow together. The massive mountain makes its move, beckoning me to ascend. A much more difficult path to get up the slippery bend. I cannot choose both. I have a choice to make. I must be wise. This will determine my fate. I choose the mountain with all its stress and strain, because only by climbing can I rise above the plain. I choose the mountain, and I'll never stop climbing. I choose the mountain, and I shall forever be ascending. I choose the mountain. Howard Simon.
I've got another one if nobody else wants it.
Please.
Is that okay?
Yes.
If I can remember it, okay, it's called An Ending. And I wrote this after doing a 4-year counseling course, where I had to work a lot on myself. I can't be a counselor without working on myself. This was at the end of the course 4 years later, and it's called An Ending. And it's a grey, lingering shadow chokes deep within my soul, shrouding my secret past in silent cover-up, till someone listens. Grey shadow, settled, dormant. I resign myself, aware of your pulling power, but I'll compromise with trust to rise above you. Grey lingering shadow disturbed by precious communication, while I give my pain away to people I trust. Make room for self-esteem. And in the trust and in the being heard, some are listening to my soul. And I practice being real like I've not been real before. Now, empathy, non-judgmental love, and genuine regard. Tools of liberation, free at last.
Oh, Oh.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Linda.
I just put this in the chat, Linda, but I think that you should put that use that poem in the preamble of your book. Is it in the book? You're muted.
It's written in the first chapter of my book, at the end of the first chapter of my book,
Oh, wow.
which you can see on the blog.
No, I know. I've read that actually. I'd
Oh, yeah.
forgotten that that was there. I remember the tree poem.
Yeah.
I think that I'm just so enamored, and that poem really strikes me.
Yeah, that liberated me. That poem, the tree poem liberated me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and consider putting that poem, this one, even further in the front, because it's really you. It's beautiful.
It is.
Thank you, Annika.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate, Linda, your poems, all of them just put me in this presence. It's like you slide right in, like right in the poem. It's really, feels really good. Thank you.
Well, I tended to write poetry when I was when I was in a place, when I was in a place, and writing it out just liberated me each time. Because my brother once accused me, all my poems are miserable, and I only wrote them when I needed, because I was on my own most of the time. I went around the world by myself. I did everything by myself, and sometimes you have to talk it out with somebody. So I talked out with poetry,
I
Directly to God.
read that we're called to create art out of our suffering. That's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Wonderful
It
art.
felt like an entire teaching to me in that one poem. A really profound teaching. And do you have a blog where the poems are available?
They're on the New Republic of the Heart blog page. It's not the poems. It's all of her life stories. She's got
Okay.
11, I think. Yeah, that's on the.
Plus,
Voices.
we're working on we put together a little web page for Linda's book too, which you can get. Just go to Linda hyphen
Linda
Granville.com.
Yeah.
And we've got quite a bit of stuff up to you.
There's but I haven't got all my poems on it. It's just a few
No.
of the poems. Yeah. Mhm.
We got the first 3 chapters, I think, are available to listen to, and then you can also.
That was great, John, to help her set that up. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's. The more I read of the book, it is a wonderful, just wonder-filled story of a wonderful person, which is so filled in the story, the wonder of you and the love and joy in your life, even with all the trials and tribulations. There's an underlying, love and passion for life, which comes out very clearly. So it's wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm Siegfried, and just a phrase which came up while I was listening, how that block, whichever way it's then appearing, can be titled, and it's the moments of presence. It's not the remembrance, it's not the story, it's not the past. It's a contribution to the presence. And I want to emphasize that, because and I'm realizing just now that my understanding of stories of older people, and I'm also counting myself into older people, They are not stories to be shared because of the past. They need to be shared with the power of presence. And this is a wonderful experience I realized this evening on my side, that stories, they are not real, maybe they are coming from the past, but the meaning and the power is created in the now, in the present. And with your ability, Linda, taking us into listening to your story, which has been in the past somehow, but you are presencing it in this moment, and therefore they are not stories of your past.
Right.
They are moments of life. You are inviting us to be with you in this moment. And this is, I never spoke like that. I never expressed it like that. I've never told somebody else like that, because it happened just in the last 2 minutes. I realize there are differences of storytelling and storytelling. And I like the way you are inviting us, Linda, to listen to your stories, because it's not storytelling, it's the invitation into the presence of the moment now. And thank you for that. I've spoken a whole.
Oh, you let that one. The past, the present, the future. Here's another Fred Lamont. Oh, there. Oh, look, you actually can see the cover there. For a second there. Hold it just right. And again, these all seem to just kind of go fit together in some kind of alchemy. Anyway, this one's called, which you may have heard before, I don't know, Message from Your Ancestors. To me, I don't know, I'll just read it, and it can be for you whatever it might be. A message from your ancestors. The ancestors want you to know that you are not required to carry their pain. Your mother did not spin the web that nets you. You wove it from your own desire. Last night's rain won't nourish this flower. Why thirst for ancient tears? Your grandmothers are singing for you to birth your own unbearable happiness. Your grandfather's bones are praying for you to hunt the sweetness in your marrow. Don't think you must stand like a warrior in the withering crossfire of your father's blood. What wounds you is your own mind's weaving blade, slashing this moment into past and future. If you insist on making reparations, plant a wild palm, a wild pine, a tree of presence. You cannot pay them for the privilege of breathing or for awakening this solitude of beauty. They need no libation nor thirst for the offering cup. They're not hungry ghosts. but merely earthworms who luxuriate in loam. Shards of sunlight lodged in dogwood blossoms. Do not carry them. They will not carry you. They bear their own grief and laughter. The past is vanishing smoke. The flame is now. Be christened with this breath. Name yourself. You sleep in the secret chamber of your ribs alone. No one else enters and leaves your lungs. A mother kissed you. A father held you. You owe them nothing for this. They did it for themselves. Now let them be about the business of their next childhood. Father your heart, mother your body. Hold and kiss your own new sparkling babies. Give them your grandmother's name if you like, but not as a weight, not as a brand on the thigh, but as a prayer, a promise of astonishment for what has not yet been conceived.
Oh.
Hmm.
Mm. Mm.
It is quite amazing how words can paint, can create pictures and emotions of magic, mystery.
John, what is the name of that again?
The name of the poem is "A Message from Your Ancestors," and it is by Fred Lamont. In fact, you can. I think if you Google it, you can probably find a version of it online.
Mhm.
But I will try to get all these things up on the website. Well, we only have a few minutes left, and I think I'm hopeful we can do this a few more times. Do a couple more of these. In fact, I would, maybe if we get our group together sometime, maybe what we'll do if we do another one of these, is we'll, as a group,
Mhm.
maybe we can see if we can write a poem while we're in the
Ooh.
session. We can see what, who knows what we might be inspired to come up with, what magic
Mhm.
we might find in the mists. Um,
I
well,
love
why don't we let everybody do a little checkout, say whatever else you might like, any other poem you have, and I have one little final thing from the patron saint of Club Tropical, Robert Nesta Marley. So
that.
those of you who aren't familiar with his lyrics, he called his songs the new Psalms. And his music, actually, even listen to some of his very first songs. I'll share some of those another time, but a lot of wonderful magic in them. Anyway, Alan, do you have anything you'd like to?
Yeah, let me, where did it go? Okay. I would like to finish with a short poem, a roomy poem I love. A guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Thank you. Lee, do you have something else you'd like to share? Any other?
Just that this is so inspiring, and I've been wanting to write again, for a long time, and I feel really sparked by all the creativity shared and by Linda's, really potent, poignant creativity, and just how everyone, like as we've been saying and feeling and experiencing the shared presence of these words that are very activating. So thank you. It's very valuable.
Thank you. Maybe one thing that we could do, how about this as an open invitation, that for whenever we do this again, why don't each of us bring an original poem, a new original poem, to the session, or something. It doesn't have to be a poem per se, but something original, maybe coming from this session, who knows, or something that happens tomorrow.
Come on, Alan.
Annika.
I love that idea. I love writing, the idea of writing a poem together. That's kind of what we did with the Hearts and Souls, but writing an actual poem together. I mean, anything that we're doing along these lines has just been brilliant and heartwarming and inspiring. And it's so weird. I have a roomie too. Now a bird with elegantly colored wings lights in a nearby tree to sing the mystery beginning again.
Oh.
And just lots of love and appreciation for all of you, for sure. Thank you so much, John.
Siegfried, any closing thoughts?
I'm Siegfried, and I don't know whether they are closing thoughts, and I feel the resistance to close. And it's good to feel that it's just an interruption I'm accepting at present. And there have been many moments of where I felt overwhelmed by the poetry and the sharing and the reflection and all what's going on. So I was again at the edge of stepping out, till I decided to let it wash over myself. Just to be in the waterfall of all what has been offered. That was a decision, and that was a changing moment where I realized that there is a lot of power in, and this is not the power of controlling, it's the power of abundance. And abundance, for me, I realize, is not to be controlled. It's just a possibility to be at choice whether I want to be in or not. And both is okay. It's really okay. So it's there is no better than and so forth. No. It's just resisting the moment of judgment from the ordinary mind and way of my thinking I'm trained to. And that was an amazing moment when I realized, okay, it's an option to stand in the waterfall of all what happened. And thank you for the waterfall. And thank you for holding me also in that And in these moments of,
Thank you.
Siegfried has been under the waterfall of all what happened and all what is. And this is wonderful. Oh, thank you. Oh.
Thank you.
Oh,
Linda, did you have any last thoughts? And then I want to get Sam, see what he's got to say, what he thought of all this.
Yeah. Just the last poem. Okay.
Please.
This is written in the outback of Australia. I was by myself. There was sat in a caravan near a leper colony near Darwin, and the funnel web spider creeping on the window behind me. And so I wrote this, and I've travelled all over the place, and it's called Shallow Water. There's only time to swim the shallow water, to search the world for better grass that's green. No time to look behind and to settle is a bind, but reflections of myself are clearly seen. And shallow waters flow wide, expanding as they go, but they cannot reach the deepness that I need. But maybe on their way, there's a place for them to stay. Then the shallow water's depth will overflow.
Oh.
Thank you again, Linda. Thank you. Well, Sam Rao, I just want to know if you do have any, how have you enjoyed all these poems? Are you still there? Or maybe we put Sam to sleep, I don't know. All right, well, if Sam's not there, then I'm going to read my.
I can hear him snoring.
Yes, that's right. I think she's chilling. He's enjoyed it though, I'm sure. Anyway, from Robert Nesta Marley. The light of your eye reveals who you are. Where your heart is, your treasure is. You can see iniquitous hiding in the trappings of the virtuous. I don't just love my neighbor and then hate a stranger. I have no place for hate. But I bless those who say they hate me, even though they don't know me. I pray for them all the while. So everybody, I thank you all. This has been a blessing, I think. Certainly for me. And and I'm very glad we did record it, because I think there's some many beautiful moments here, and I'll make sure it gets up on New Republic of the Heart and whatever. And so with that, I thank you all, and may we each go out and find magic and beauty everywhere we go. And we'll do it as long as we look for it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John, for creating.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.